It's 2011 and Tyler the Creator just ate a cockroach. Well, he had established himself as an artist to watch in the alternative hip-hop underground with his breakout mixtape Bastard and his collective's debut The Odd Future tape a few years earlier. Tyler's world was about to change forever. Leaning into blown-out dark aesthetics and shocking lyrics juxtaposed with bright-colored Supreme hoodies and hats, Tyler offered a breath of fresh air to the commercialized landscape of hip-hop in the 2010s. The lo-fi production of everything from his self-produced beats to his self-directed music videos to his self-designed album covers cultivated a generation of dedicated fans who flocked to Odd Future's DIY aesthetic. In the early days, Odd Future was successful, whether it be their iconic logo, their Adult Swim show Loiter Squad, or crazy live shows. And their cult fanbase was there for it all. And while key members of the group were immediate standouts, Tyler's creative direction and vision had guided their success from the start. Tyler the Creator has had without a doubt the most impressive progression of any artist in his generation. Yonkers was his entrance to the mainstream with its provocative lyrics, blaring production, and classic music video, but to many on the outside, the shock value had no chance of lasting. So how, 13 years later, has Tyler remained one of the most relevant and interesting artists in the music industry? While many think that his recent successes are simply due to growing up, the key to his rise has been with him all along. His budgets have gotten bigger and his influences have broadened, but Tyler's ability to constantly reinvent himself through his projects has not only led to one of the most interesting discographies in modern hip-hop, but has also allowed him to remain one of the most influential artists in the music industry. Tyler the Creator is a singular artist, a person who grew up in the public eye for better or for worse, and has cultivated a diehard audience who is ready to support any venture he might develop, whether it be a music festival, carnival, or a luxury fashion and fragrance brand, or an ice cream flavor. His music isn't the most inventive in the industry, with his influences worn clearly on his sleeve, but his execution has led to consistency that transcends music. More importantly than the music is Tyler's aura and taste making, the clothes, the colors, and the characters that bring his eras to life. Whether it be the summery vibes of Flower Boy that defined fashion in 2017, or the suits and bobs of Igor, or the Ushankas and luggage crates of Call Me If You Get Lost, Tyler, and by extension his collective Odd Future, have defined what's cool for years. His ability to commit fully to the worlds he builds around his project sets him completely apart from his peers. Concept albums aren't new and Tyler didn't invent them, but his attention to detail when tying together songs to his various clothing brands, to music videos, to his live shows, make his stories feel substantial and worth diving into. Even when Tyler isn't rapping about characters, like in Call Me If You Get Lost, the way he portrays his idealized world of travel and biking and luxury cars supports his lavish production. His luxury brand Golf Fleur exists so you can look like Tyler, travel like Tyler, and subsequently feel like you can also live in his world. And even though the brand is new and built specifically around his newest body of work, this attention to detail is a common thread around his rollouts. Igor's Halloween costumes let you dress like his music videos, Flower Boy's Converse collabs created one of the most iconic silhouettes of the 2010s, and the Cherry Bomb era of Golf Wang set the groundwork for Tyler's look for years. In many ways, Tyler is simply following in the footsteps of his biggest inspiration, Pharrell Williams. With their synth-heavy production, bright and trend-setting clothes, brands, and curation, both artists appreciate wearing different hats and keeping every door open. They're two of the busiest people in the music industry, and even though it's been years since a proper Tyler album and almost a decade since Pharrell's last body of work, the diversification of their output make them some of the most relevant people in the industry. Tyler's early work is clearly inspired by Pharrell's work with NERD and his solo output, but his biggest contribution to Tyler's career was encouraging him to make house music, or music that buys you houses, during his Cherry Bomb sessions. Cherry Bomb is clearly Tyler's roughest body of work, but its roughness is what makes it special. It's a transitional album with one foot in the shock value and blown out beats that built him, and the other in the lavish strings and layered production that would define the second half of his career. And while not every experiment pans out, its flaws make it feel special. When people talk about Tyler, they say he has a finger on the pulse of the youth, but in reality, Tyler's riding his own wave and the youth is just following. There is no artist like him, and even though the landscape of hip-hop continues to dive deeper into rage beats and darker aesthetics, his sunny production and rich textures continue to make his music stand out. His versatility has allowed him to grow throughout his discography, and you can hear his sound progress through the years. Even on Tyler's most divisive and left field release to date, Igor, his trademark synth-heavy beats take center stage, this time complemented by lo-fi jazz aesthetics and pitched-up vocals. It's an album that shows Tyler at his most artistic and experimental, while at the same time highlighting his weaknesses. Tyler is a visionary artist, someone who hears a song in his head and executes it, even if he's not the best vocalist for the job. Songs like Earthquake were written written for artists like Justin Bieber and Rihanna, but when it was turned down, it became his biggest song ever. In a similar way to his other biggest inspiration, Kanye West, who built an entire album on highlighting his imperfections that became one of the most influential projects in hip-hop, Tyler's ability to use his flaws as a tool instead of hide them makes him feel individual. Because of the effort put into the world around his projects, a Tyler the Creator album feels like an event. With his mainstream success, his fan base has grown exponentially, and with that has come opportunity after opportunity, but none of it has diluted what makes him special. Tyler is an artist clearly defined by eras, but throughout it all, he's still Tyler. He's still that kid from California wearing what he wants to wear and making what he wants to make. People are just finally catching up to him. Even though his trajectory as an artist seems like a complete 180 from the outside, his growth as both an artist and a person over the years is reflected perfectly in his discography and shows no sign of slowing down anytime soon. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one.